Look, I think this was a good camp for us. I was pleased with obviously the attendance, number one. I was pleased with the effort. I thought, from our players to our coaching staff to the support staff. I thought it was a good camp that I think sets the foundation for moving into training camp, and so that's where we now begin to turn our focus and get ready for really the start of the 2022 season.
Can you decide today, just heat related, and was that something you decided like yesterday or today, or was that something you knew from the beginning?
It probably was determined about 12:30 yesterday afternoon after walking off that field, in a couple of 90-plus degree days. I think we talked about it yesterday. I think just that's part of the deal. You put in two good days, in 90-plus degree temperatures. Let's get inside. Let's get some good work. Short, crisp practice today, look, typically on the last day of anything, all of us are human, so your attention span begins to wane a little bit, and so how do we short, crisp, keep their attention, and then now we kind of get a chance to get away for a little bit and kind of get our minds off of it for a little bit before we get into the grind in training camp.
DA, can you summarize this offseason work for you? You've done it before, but comfort level wise, and the tweaks you wanted to make and those kinds of things.
Well, look, I look at it as it's in my mind. It's been a successful offseason, but it's just an offseason. We've got a lot of work that we've got to do between now and still the beginning of the season. I certainly felt more comfortable in this role, in this environment, with this organization, obviously having so much experience here. Look, I feel good about where I'm at. I feel good about where the coaching staff is at. I feel good about where our players are, but yet not satisfied.
The defensive line with Marcus Davenport being out, who's really kind of stepped up in the last three practices?
Well, I think Carl Granderson's had a really good camp. He's a guy that was here for all of the OTAs and here for the minicamp. I think he's a guy up front that I felt like really took a step forward in this camp, and hopefully we can continue that as we get into training camp in August.
Yeah, just watching Will Lutz in this last drill, what did you think about where he was? It seemed like the velocity was good.
Well, the ball came off his foot really well, and so for really his first kicking session with the whole operation, I was comfortable with where that was. I think he's going to do nothing but get better. I think that's a big step for him, just getting out here with the whole team and having an opportunity to kick with the full operation.
How much better do you think you are than where you were in January of last season?
As a team?
As a team.
Well, look, I think we've acquired some talent, which I think is certainly going to be beneficial to us. I don't really want to. I'd say we've made some progress, is what I'd say. I'd say we've made some progress. I like the direction that we're headed, but certainly, man, we got a long way to go, and a lot of things that we have to improve on, and so my focus really is, how do we keep getting a little bit better every single day, but I do think we've made some progress over this offseason.
Is there a particular area that's a bigger concern than anything else as far as improvement that you really want to see?
Well, look, I think there's a ton of different areas that we have to improve on. So the list is way too long for me to list out, right now. But that's not uncommon for this time of year, and it's kind of like your Christmas wish list. You hopefully, as the days go on, you're able to start crossing some of those things off and feel like you've kind of gotten where you need to be in those areas.
Dennis, for a young player like Bryce Thompson to have an opportunity to be on the practice squad last year and kind of be here and learn and then be in the program in the offseason, how much does that help a player like him? He looks pretty comfortable out here doing this stuff.
Yeah, look, I think anytime you get to grow through experience, it's a benefit to you. So his ability as a young player to kind of be on the practice squad, be in the system for a year, understand not only what we're asking him to do, but how we're asking him to do it, I think is a plus. I think with Bryce, as with a lot of these guys, we're working on consistency. You see some good plays, and then you see some plays where you're like, we got to get better in that area. So I think that's what all players should and are striving to do, is become more consistent. Because I know from a coaching staff standpoint, if I know exactly what I'm getting on every play, it's much easier for me to put you in positions to have success.
Dennis, your impressions of Allante Taylor at this point?
Really like him. I think he's probably a little further ahead than what I anticipated when he got in here, and excited about seeing what he can do as we keep moving forward.
How important will it be for Doug Marrone coming in here to develop the young offensive line?
Well, look, I wouldn't say that's specific to Doug Marrone. I'd say that's our job as coaches. We're in the talent acquisition, but we're in the development business, and that's all of our jobs, is to develop these young players, and not just the young players, but how do we continue to improve on some of the veteran players. And so, is it important for Doug? Yeah, it is. It's important for all of us.
Yeah, when you say Allante's ahead of where you thought, are you saying, conceptual wise in terms of grasping the defense or physically? Or?
Yeah, I think anytime, you're number one, I don't necessarily want to call it concern, but the thing you don't really know when you draft a player is fully what that makeup is. Football character, intelligence, those types of things. And we had good reads on him in the spring in terms of that, but until you really actually get in the building and get a chance to work with him, you don't really know, and that's where I've been impressed with him.
Do you concern yourself at all with some of the player contract situations? I know a couple guys that might be in the market on your contract.
Well, look, concerns, I wouldn't call it concern, I would say that that's part of the business of the National Football League. And there's 32 teams in our league, and I would imagine that probably 32 out of 32 have some sort of contract negotiations that are ending up going on with somebody. And it's just part of it's the nature of the business. It's what we do. And I think our guys, I'm talking about our front office people, I think they do that job as well as any.
Dennis, you look at Taysom Hill, you said, I want to see him on the field. I don't want to see him standing alongside me. So obviously, I know you have a vision for him. And would that also be a big part, maybe, considering the success of this play, like when he's at quarterback, the power off tackle? I mean, it seems like even though that's a quarterback play, the concept, that you still would want to have that in the offense.
Well, I look at Taysom Hill as a weapon in a lot of different areas. All right, so we talk all the time about positionless players on defense. I don't know if positionless is the right word for Taysom. Multiple position player. I look at him as a weapon in the passing game. I look at him as a weapon playing at the quarterback position. I look at him with the ball in his hands. I look at him on special teams in a lot of different areas. And so there's a ton of places where Taysom Hill can help this football team win. And we want to utilize him in all those different roles.
Coach, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on the two most notable additions to your offense with Jarvis, Landry, Chris Olave, and the wide receiver room. Just how they've looked so far in your opinion, and how much more dynamic you think your passing game will be this year.
Well, I would say that I like both those players. I'd say both of them bring a skill set to the wide receiver room that I think can help us and be better in that area this year. Jarvis obviously being a savvy vet, outstanding route runner. Chris is highly athletic, got really good speed to stretch the field. He's going to have a learning curve just like all rookies do. And I think one of the things that we wanted to do this year was add talent to the roster and increase the competition amongst the roster. And I think we've done that in a lot of different areas.
And Dennis, the team sent a tweet out about y'all wearing black helmets at some point this season. What kind of brought that about?
Was that your idea?
I think this is an idea that's kind of been in the making for a little while. And it's kind of a league initiative. I don't get really too in-depth and involved in that. I thought it was kind of cool looking, so I was like, all right, let's do it. All right.
Really disappointed.
Hopefully nobody has a problem with it.
I'm really disappointed you weren't a big part of the design process here.
Yeah, exactly.
When did you come to know that just being a head coach again, is it extra special to go to camp this year knowing that there's a whole new challenge again in your life, like, you get another chance to do this?
Well, yeah, look, it's exciting for me. Yeah, absolutely, it's exciting for me. It's exciting for me to have an opportunity to do that here with this group of guys. The organization, the coaching staff, the players. Yeah, absolutely. There's a added excitement to this season for me, certainly. Last one.
You mentioned two-a-days yesterday, how they're kind of ridiculous. When did you first come to that realization, and where were you?
High school.
as a coach, though, when obviously players don't like it, but as a coach, diminishing returns. When did you see that?
I don't know exactly when that came about. It was probably about the time that they said, hey, we're not going to have 2 days anymore. We're going to go to the one practice and a walkthrough.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you experience that and you're like, well, why hadn't we been doing this all along?
Gotcha.
And so when that was, I don't remember exactly when that was, but, and we've certainly, I think, been able to put a pretty good product out on the field without having to have 2 days.
And Dennis, do you think that was the case, that the 2 days was invented because players have come in out of shape? I mean, you didn't have the year-round training that you have now.
Yeah, look.
And had off-season jobs and all.
Potentially. I mean, Bobby, you didn't do anything in the off-season.
A little bit.
Well, they also used to have 6 weeks to kind of get ready too,
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great summer.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.